I'm Michael Josh Thanksel, and today we'll be talking about, or arguing about, tax policy. So our side is arguing that we should have a progressive change in our economic policy. Under the current policy, the US deficit is increasing exponentially. A statistic from the US government debt shows that from the fiscal year of 2010, the gross federal debt was 13.5 trillion. And from fiscal year 2011, the gross federal debt was 15.5 trillion. And the estimated estimated gross federal debt for fiscal year 2012 is about 16.7 trillion. So to generate enough revenue for covering the debt and other welfare programs and such, the government has to tax. And the way, or most of the revenue comes from income taxes and payroll taxes. The U.S. States Government Accountability Office states that government revenue is the following: 1,732 billion comes from personal income taxes and payroll taxes, 179.6 billion in corporate tax revenues, and 304 billion in other revenues. So we state that we should raise the tax link to about 43% with the adjustment of tax brackets accordingly for both households and corporations. With our plan, we aim to keep the lower and middle class tax brackets about the same and include in other tax brackets. So the tax brackets are the following: 10% for households that earn up to $12,150 per year, 15% for households that earn $12,151 to $460,250, 25% for households that earn $46,000 to $119,000, 28% for those that earn $119,000 to $193,000, 33% for those who earn $193,000 and $379,000, and 35% for those that earn $379,000 or more. But what we want to do is that we want to increase that 35% to a 43%. In that way, we can create a new tax bracket. This tax bracket would be 43% for those that earn $537,000 or more. So our secondary claims is that unfair taxation occurs in the U.S. Shown by the mass support from the population in favor of this progressive tax reform. The percentage change of incomes from the lowest fifth, second fifth, third fifth, fourth fifth, and top fifth are relatively under about 95%, while the top 1% is over 281%. And with that, the mass population is protesting against these top 1% and how they increase their income by such a large amount compared to their small amount. The general public and the Occupy Wall Street are a movement that is inspired by popular uprisings in Egypt and Tunisia, and aims to expose how the richest 1% of the people are writing the rules of the unfair global economy that is foreclosing our future. Secondly, the current economic inequality is causing a larger deficit for the U.S. government. The unemployment rate is shown by the Bureau of Labor Statistics that in October, about 9% is unemployed, and about April 2011, about 9% to 9.2% are unemployed. Also, high divorce rates are apparent in the U.S. the divorce rates for males in 2009 were about 9,200 per every 1 million men, and the divorce rates for women were about 9,700 per 1 million women. Also, financial crimes that have been committed in the quarters of January through June have been relatively high. About 1,023 crimes have been committed. Our second claim is that with our proposition, we were able to generate enough revenue to cover funding for welfare programs and help decrease the national debt. A similar tax policy that is being discussed in the government is decreasing or the expiration of the Bush tax cuts. Looking at the Democratic plan for the Bush tax cuts, Brian Butler says that Democratic leaders on the Hill and in the White House, however, want to preserve most of the cuts too, and just let the tax cuts for the wealthy Americans expire. Also, Obama proposes that we increase the higher tax rates for individuals that make over $1 million, and yes. So what we're saying is that unlike these policies, they won't be able to create enough revenue for the government to use and exploit. So what we want to do is keep the middle and lower class tax rates to what they are now, and then increase the upper class incomes for those who earn $530K more or up to 1 million or more. So yeah.